cool. I like to be natural anyway. All right. So, Mr. Boyd, what I was coming in to say, what I wanted to share, I don't know if my team related to you when you asked me to come speak. There was one requirement, and that requirement was that you have an AED machine on site, an automatic external defibrillator, just in case I should fall and hit my face in my heart. She get out of rhythm, okay? She get out of rhythm, and that's what second chances are all about. Should I fall and hit my face right now? Is there anybody out here that is skilled or would grab that AED? And anybody out here that would help me out? I got any hands. Ooh, thank God. Thank God for second chances,
911 just across the street.
Huh?
911 just across the street.
911 across the street. Can you get them for me though?
Oh yeah.
That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. But my main point is, that's what, when I looked up the AED machine, what I realized is, though, when somebody is in need of that machine, in most cases, which I'm a believer, so I'm a faith guy, so I'm gonna say in most cases, that person is not dead. So a guy like myself, I wasn't dead when this was the guy. This guy right here on the right, I wasn't dead. My heart was just out of rhythm.
All right now.
And I needed somebody that was skilled, that would give me an opportunity, that would take that AED machine and to help me get back into an effective rhythm, because that's what the machine does. So now that we're all clear on why I need that AED machine, let me explain to you why it's so vital. Somebody asked me, why is it so vital? Cool, I'm glad y'all with me, because I need people to talk back to me. So it's so vital because, let me introduce myself. I'm Joe Jenkins, all right? I was once considered one of the worst criminals in Chattanooga in 2013. When I was coming up for over 20-some years, I would be the first to admit, before anybody Googles me, when I did sell drugs, I sold all I could get my hands on. So I'm not up here to make any excuses or to make anyone think that I didn't do what they said I done. However, my heart was just out of rhythm. I needed somebody to pour into me. I might have needed somebody that wants somebody to believe in me. Because in most cases, that's what it is. When I was facing a mandatory life sentence and sitting in that cell in that orange jumpsuit, and my name had been plastered all over the news with 31 other men, and they said that we were the worst criminals in Chattanooga in 2013. And I know I wasn't the worst guy. And in my mind, the first thing I said, I didn't kill anybody. However, I have to realize later on as I matured, my lifestyle was killing a lot of people. My lifestyle was killing a lot of people, including my family. So as I sat in there, and I would look at myself in that jumpsuit at the age of 40 years old, facing a mandatory life sentence. Do anybody know what a mandatory life sentence is?
You gotta do it.
That means I've done federal time. So when you're in the federal, your out date says deceased when you get a mandatory life sentence. And so to have to sit in there and look in the mirror and think that I would never get the opportunity to see that young lady face right there, which is my granddaughter, my beautiful granddaughter. See, that's what second chances is all about. But while I was in there, I had an attorney, and she believed in me. I never forget, I asked her the question after we got to know each other, and she was really trying to help me. I asked her, I said, Miss Corey, I said, I want to know what you think about me. And she said, you really want me to answer that question? I said, yes, ma'am, I do. She said, and she was an elderly lady, but excuse me, I should call her seasoned. Pardon me for that. I don't need nobody booing me off the stage. All right, so she was a seasoned lady, and what she told me, she said, I am highly disappointed in you because you, of all people, could have done so much more for your community than what you have done. And out of my mouth, while I'm facing a life sentence, the words, they just spoke on their own. They said, and I still can. And from that day forward, I made it my business. I started off, I didn't know where I was going to land, but I began to help people. And I began to say, what was it that I didn't have? Because something went wrong with me as a child. So what was it that I didn't have that I could create, that I could give back, so that the community doesn't have to continue to be the way that it is? And at that point, I first started out doing pre-trial and sentencing consulting because everybody wants to get out of jail, right? Let's just get that part understood. So I started off helping people with their legal things and just, as searching things out and finding. What I found out was I was pretty good at research and things like that. That's why Miss Corey kind of took a liking to me. So I continued on, and then one thing led to another. And then I come up with the BRAVE effect. And BRAVE is an acronym for Building Relationships and Valuable Encounters. I knew that that's where it was. Now, mind you, this was my second time in prison because I had already done federal time once before that. I don't want to cheat y'all out of nothing, so I want to make sure I let y'all know the real deal. Like, I didn't just get caught one time because sometimes people might need a third chance, which I did. So, however, I'm sitting in there and I began to create this program, but the first thing that I had to understand is that I needed to do some new things. I had learned everything from the streets that I could learn. The streets taught me how to survive in the street, and they taught me how to survive in prison. Well, clearly, my life was about to be more than that. And in order for me to begin and work on and train myself to do just that, I had to surround myself with new people. And that's what I began to do. And that's how I come up with the BRAVE effect. Now, the BRAVE effect is a re-entry program. And so what I do now with my daily life, outside of being a welder on the weekend, because I do got to go to work. I just can't do nonprofit all the time. Anybody know about that? You can't survive off nonprofit. All right, so I'm a welder on the weekends, and I do re-entry during the week. So what I do is, and what's different about the BRAVE effect is, I will not take a participant that doesn't have a plan. Because see, that's what I realized I didn't have, and part of me getting jumped back to life was that I had to have a plan. Because the first time when I got out of prison, I only had one goal, and that was to get out of prison. And once I got out, I went back to what I was trained to do, and that was the streets. But I trained myself in prison. I took the time and I trained myself. I learned, I took, what was that? Help me out, somebody. Microsoft Office. I took Microsoft Office and I began to take every class that I could in order to empower myself. I took motivational speaking. We got that. We came up with that on our own in there. I took parenting classes, some that I'm still challenged with. I won't get up and act like I got it all figured out. Some areas I'm still challenged. So what I did, I took all those things and came up with the BRAVE effect. Now, since I've been released for 3 years now, a little bit over 3 years. My first 15 months out, I purchased my first home. All right? First thing I told them, can I be transparent in here? Yeah. I can, okay, cool. So because when I was buying my house, they knew that all I had ever done before, because I couldn't show no work history. So they knew that I had to give them an answer. It wasn't just taking, y'all know how that goes, so they knew that I was in prison. Well, when they approved for me a loan for over $200,000, the first thing I told them was, but since they knew my whole history and I like to be transparent, I said, they didn't give me this much drugs when I was in the streets. I mean, they didn't. You guys really trust me, So I went from that, and then after that, this is my second year home. I grossed over 60 grand on my job. I got to tell this story because, see, somebody believed in me. And the best thing about this is I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. There's many more behind me, just like me, that need somebody to. Now, will y'all still use that automatic external defibrillator? Because I don't need it today, but there's some people behind me that does. And who's willing to give somebody that second chance? Without a second chance, I wouldn't have a team that I got over there. They need me and I need them. Without a second chance, I wouldn't be able to stand before y'all. I went back to school also, sociology. Without a second chance, I couldn't have done it. All I'd have done was rot in that orange jumpsuit in prison for the rest of my life. I was just out of rhythm. It's somebody else out of rhythm. So what I'm gonna want to do right now is I want to take the time to challenge those that will actually take that AED machine. And I want to challenge you to help somebody get their heart back in rhythm. Because I'm not the only one. There's so many more men and women just like me. We the game changers. And if anybody's gonna go back into those communities, and if they're gonna listen to anybody, better take one of me with you. Just real talk. If you want them to relate to somebody, if you want somebody to co-sign, if you want somebody to say they good, you have to take somebody that's been there, that's been in the struggle with them. Somebody that they can relate to. Somebody that's been to jail. Somebody that was hungry a few nights. Somebody who slept with the lights out. Somebody who lit the house off camera. I'm not here to give a poor story. I told you I got my house. Alright? But it is some people that's coming behind me. And man, they gonna need a second chance. And that's what it's all about. I don't know anybody in here that doesn't need a second chance at something. So what do they look like? In a lot of instances, they look like this guy right here. That's often overlooked. So, as I leave the stage, I really want to challenge you. Take a chance. I'm a working machine. You bring me on board, I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna make it happen. And there's some more people just like me. How many people could use somebody in their camp that's gonna make it happen? Absolutely. In your church, that's gonna make it happen. Absolutely. In your community, that's gonna make it happen. Well, it's that somebody that probably need a second chance. And in most cases, they'll probably work harder for you. Because all they want to do is prove themselves. Only if I could prove myself. Only if Mr. David called me back again. That's what it's all about, proving yourself. So I'm honored that y'all had me come here tonight. I hope I left something with you. So from now on, when you think about an AED machine, I hope it has more than one meaning. I hope it challenges you to think about helping somebody get their heart back in rhythm, get their life back in rhythm, get their lifestyle back in rhythm. And re-entry isn't always about re-entering from prison. Some people are re-entering from a bad divorce. Some people are re-entering from homelessness. Some people are re-entering from mental illnesses. Re-entry is not just one thing. And so, not only people from prison need a second chance, but there's so many in our community that could use one. I really appreciate y'all having me. It was an honor. I don't take it lightly. I've been looking forward to it. And if I could be transparent, I cried for 2 days about coming here because this is a dream come true. I'm not so far that I still don't dream. Because I knew when I sat in that prison, I watched myself come up this stage as my right hand to God. And then for y'all to welcome me and help that happen, y'all gave me a second chance as well. I don't know, is there any questions for me before I go?